Yo, 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 what's up, my wrestling fans? What's up, my wrestling peeps? It's your boy E here on the mic with another episode produced by the GSMC Sports Network, the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the Wrestling Laureate Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We're going to start off with an AEW review. Of course, Mercedes Moné is back. She's all elite. And also, after that, we have a nice little TNA Impact slash Ring of Honor, kind of like a preview. And our two top stories today is story number one was after Monday Night Raw aired, Sami Zayn was legitimately upset with the fans after his their reaction toward him winning the Gauntlet match and being the number one contender for the Ring General Gunther's Intercontinental Championship at Mania. And our last one, we're going to finish off with The Rock. The Rock is set to go back to Hollywood and film another movie from May to August. So it's interesting to find out how the WWE is going to kind of tailor-made their storyline around the whole bloodline and Roman Reigns, and if they're going to force it around. I don't know. We have a pretty packed show today, so pretty interesting. Before we start, I would like to ask you to like and follow the show, and as well. As always, also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show. So, to ensure that your questions get read on air, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net with your questions, of course. And that puts your questions right at the top so I can see them so you can talk to me. You know what I mean? And also, it helps the show. Like, we love peace, love, and peace, love, positivity over at the GSMC Podcast Network. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. So, I don't know, pretty exciting stuff here today. So, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. So, we have the AEW review, which was pretty cool. Honestly, as I have been keeping tabs on the AEW as soon as they kind of like, I don't know, kind of debuted. Obviously, Cody Rhodes was there, and I remember watching Cody Rhodes from WWE. And then the moment I found out Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone were there, I was like, yo, I'm watching this show every week, every Wednesday Dynamite, Friday Night Rampage, Saturday Collision, like whatever it took. I was ready to watch it because I'm a huge wrestling fan. And like I said before in the previous podcast, that AEW kind of has more of a kind of like an attitude era feel, like kind of like a WWE, which I kind of like. They appeal to like a PG-13, um, kind of standard, but at the same time they could be family friendly. They could be, they could be PG most of the time. But they also show some pretty cool matches with like weapons, glass, thumbtacks. So, all right, I'll go ahead and get on to the first segment. That the moment the show started, a Mercedes pulled up, and you saw the Mercedes, like obviously that was foreshadowing for Mercedes Moné like coming into the arena. So she showed up. She came in, and of course, TD Garden, Boston is her hometown. So, of course, you can expect someone like Sasha Banks making her return the boss, the CEO at Big Business. I think that's kind of a nice little play on words, or like kind of like a nice little thing. I don't know. Maybe they titled that special show just for her. Who knows? But anyways, before we get started, um, kind of taking like a break from the Mercedes Monet real quick, is I kind of really like how AEW really portrays their stars. I kind of like how whenever they fight, or whenever they're like on a promo, or whenever they're set to face a matchup that's key to the storyline, I really honestly like that they kind of take the fans and the audience through like the journey of how they got there. And I don't know. I really like that as a fan. Like it's kind of like you watch like a UFC 296. What, I don't know what number they're up to nowadays. But usually have the backstory. You have the origin of the fighter to kind of pull the audience in, to kind of get them invested, fully invested. And the best way to get viewership is obviously like through the ethos, pathos, logos. Like you have emotional, you have logical, and of course you have ethical. But I think AEW is kind of doing it really good. Tony Khan has been really doing well with his like story writing, the scripting, with choreography. I don't know. I just feel like AEW is doing it right. It's kind of like UFC, WWE kind of like if they made a baby and they made wrestling. I don't know. I just thought that was super cool. I think WWE should do way more than that. You see it in NXT a lot, probably because those are like superstars that are still trying to like propel themselves to the next level. But hopefully, I don't know, they kind of learn from. I think that's pretty cool. But in that so Mercedes Monet came out. I honestly love her new theme song. I love her coming back with the Symphony E minor, Symphony 9 in E minor, kind of with like a hip hop remix, kind of like, you know, I don't know. It sounds, I think it sounds pretty cool. And you could tell by the look on her face that she really, 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 really likes it. The first time I heard that theme come into play was when Gunther made his debut to WWE when he was fighting Seth Rollins, where Seth Rollins was a fighting champion, and he offered he offered an open challenge to anybody, and all you would see is I just thought that was pretty cool. Like I don't know, like the Symphony 9 in E minor. Good job. Nice remix. Not remix. So the boss is now the CEO, like I said. I think it's kind of cool how the character Mercedes Monet kind of used that. Like, because the boss is like the boss, but always above the boss, there's the CEO. So I don't know if she's trying to foreshadow or she was trying to kind of stick it to WWE, or is that my like, me trying to be like a conspiracy theorist? That she was the boss in WWE, but now she's at AEW, where AEW is above WWE in her standards, and she's the CEO. Very better than the boss, I guess. But you know, I obviously that could be my imagination running away. But she went on kind of saying how she kind of gave off like her journey to wrestling, how she dropped out of school to take care of her brother. She was 90 pounds and she went to the local wrestling clinic in Boston. And I can't believe that like she was 90 pounds going to wrestling. That's crazy. Like she put on like a lot of mass, like a lot of muscle. And I don't know, that's kind of props. And she did revolutionize the women industry, especially in the WWE with the women's evolution. I think she was a huge part of that. She went toe to toe with Charlotte Flair, arguably probably one of the best women's wrestlers in WWE history. I remember when they had their Hell in a Cell match. I think they had an Iron Man match. They also had an Iron Man match, and I think she said in a promo back in the day that iron sharpens iron, and that kind of makes sense because two of the best, two of the amazing superstars in the women's division. Just put it on a show for the fans. Very memorable. I still remember it to this day. And I don't know, not Sasha Banks, sorry, Mercedes Monet deserves a lot more credit. Um, and I think that I kind of really liked is from the get go, she kind of addressed the women's locker room. Like she said, I'm excited to fight all of you guys. Like I thought that was pretty cool. Like I don't know. Mercedes Monet is obviously I'm a huge fan. I've been a huge fan since WWE. Then she went to New Japan Wrestling. She spent a little time in the indie circuit and eventually ended up fighting for Tony Khan in the AEW, which is super cool. Super awesome. I really like that. Honestly, I think this opportunity is really good for her, and I think AEW, although and of course this is in my opinion that the AEW women's division isn't quite up to par with the WWE women's division, but I think adding Mercedes Monet is gonna, it's gonna catapult you to that level where you want your women's division to be as an organization, like, standards wise. So I thought that was pretty awesome. She kind of stated an informal challenge to her, to like a fellow, like to a past foe, Willow Nightingale. Um, and during at the end of Big Business, when Nightingale pinned Riho, she was attacked by Julia Neidhart. No, she was attacked Julia Hart, the TBS champion. So I kind of think that they're gonna kind of try to play that into the storyline here, where they're gonna end up probably fighting at that pay per view for that championship, and Mercedes Monet is gonna come out on top. All right. But just to let, Mercedes Monet know that AEW, although, you come on as a very prestigious with your accolades and everything as like as a trailblazer for the women's revolution, a multi-time world champion, women's tag team champion. Like you have to realize these girls that are fighting for AEW are pretty badass. Like you have like Athena. Athena's pretty obviously, Athena from WWE as what was her name? She was pretty badass. I remember I really liked watching her on NXT. Um, Ember Moon. Ember Moon was sick. I love the moment Ember Moon left. I remember talking to my wife. I was like, "Hey, where did Ember Moon go?" Like, she put on some pretty good matches. Also you have Britt Baker. She's on the IR right now, and you also have Tony Storm, the NXT, not the AEW Women's Champion, and you have Chris Statlander as well. So this isn't no easy task. Like so. Mercedes Monet, don't think you're going to come in here and just push everybody around because you have a giant target on your back coming from like New Japan Wrestling and WWE. So, remember that. Watch your back. I'm just kidding, no. But I wish the best for Mercedes Monet. All right, moving on. Wardlow fought Samoa Joe for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, and at the time I liked Wardlow how he jumped on top of him and started attacking him like super, super, super early to kind of display dominance and kind of control the tempo of the matchup. But Samoa Joe did what he did best. He slowed down the match with strikes, with wrestling moves, with a lot of suplexes, and of course, like putting him into the to the turnbuckle. Doing his jabs and with his insecurity and stuff like that. That's something really good that Samoa Joe does as a wrestler. He knows that a lot of people, a lot of challengers, especially for the World Heavyweight Champion, are going to come out full guns blazing. And the best thing to do is just, you got to control the tempo. You got to make sure you don't play to their level because if you change your style to fight their style, guess what's going to happen? You're going to lose. Absolutely. Absolutely, you're going to lose. And I think Joe did a pretty good job standing his ground and retaining the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So as soon as Joe won, Swerve Strickland came out, and he came out guns blazing. Like he came out, and like the referees and the officials were trying to like hold him back, but he was like punching them off, and doing this and that and the other. Which, like hopefully he doesn't get in trouble too bad for that, or hopefully he doesn't get suspended because obviously Swerve was a little disgruntled because in the tag match last week where they fought the Ring of Honor champions. Um, Samoa Joe and Swerve won that match, but then it ended with Swerve getting choked out by Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe got under his skin and just kind of made a fool out of Swerve. But I don't know. That should be interesting how that all works out. All right. The next one I want to kind of talk about was the six-man tag team match between the Elite and versus Eddie Kingston and the Death Triangle. I thought it was a pretty good match. I really liked it. You saw the Rainmaker kind of make his debut in AEW, working with the Young Guns. But Okada is just special. He's just a special wrestler. He's very gifted. And some of the best matches in wrestling history were put up by Okada and Kenny Omega. And that's something that good old Jim Ross stated in some of his articles that he wrote. So it's no surprise that at the end of the match, O'Connor grabbed I believe it's the International Championship, and kind of sent a message to Eddie Kingston to be like, hey, I want your title. So I don't know. I kind of like it how, I like kind of like in your face, like smash mouth wrestling. Like I know like nowadays it's kind of not like premiere like it used to be, but I don't know. I think I don't know. That's kind of why I like AEW. I like AEW because one, you get to know the stars. Two, you kind of I don't know, you're kind of absorbed in that world, but that could be like a JR thing or like a Tony Giovanni, and also Taz rocking on the mic, but I don't know. AEW's I'm becoming a huge fan of AEW right before your very eyes. All right. Also, The promo between the I Quit match between Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. It's going to set place in Toronto next week. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Obviously, they have a huge history together. They were trailblazers for the tag team division back in WWF between the tables, ladders, and chairs match between the Dudley Boys and the Hardy Boys. So, and now they're feuding together. I just think that's totally awesome. Like I said on the last show, that most of the times a dissolution of a tag team is like one of the best storylines that any wrestling organization could have. So, I think that's pretty cool. Um, Also, Darby Allin getting his butt kicked after his match with Switchblade Jay White, and basically, oh man, the Bullet Club Gold came out and just like destroyed Darby Allin. I felt really bad for the guy, but then Billy Gunn and the Acclaim came out to try to, to help him out, and they kind of had like this. I guess they had this truce or something like that. Like I remember I was watching and I was listening to what the announcer says, like, oh, and the guy was like, oh, there goes the truce or something like that, and all of them kind of. It's the trios champion for the AEW, and it's the trios champion for the Ring of Honor. So it'd be nice to kind of see them battle it out. So I think that was super, super sick. So the next one I kind of want to hit on before we go to break here is Kyle O'Reilly coming back. Kyle O'Reilly, of course, was injured. This is going to be his first match next. I think it's Friday or Saturday. He's going to fight the bounty hunter Brian Keith, and this is a neck fusion surgery. This is just his first one, and then he hurt his neck. And this is kind of the same injury that Edge had. The reason that put him out, he had 2 neck fusion surgeries, and also that's the reason why Big E's out. That's the reason why you haven't seen Robert Roode on WWE, although he's still on the active roster. But I heard he's been doing a lot of producer work. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I hope he's not coming back too soon. Of course, I wish the best for his health, obviously, but I just hope nothing else, nothing bad happens. I wish the best for Kyle O'Reilly. But he was approached by the Undisputed Kingdom as well. And then he told Renee, he was like, I gotta do this on my own. Like as if like he's not used to it. So like that'd be kind of cool. Like if they kind of bring him back into the United Kingdom or the Undisputed Kingdom, I think that'd be dope. All right, and just kind of end it off here. The Rio versus the Willow Nightingale. I thought it was pretty cool. There was a point in the match where the fans were chanting like they were chanting, "This is awesome!" And the moment that fans chant that, I don't know, I just think it kind of plays on the wrestlers a little bit, and I wish the fans would do more of that because a lot of wrestlers do put their careers on the line, their bodies on the line, kind of their not emotional. Well, you can never tell. But I don't know. It takes a lot to be a wrestler. It takes a lot to be a wrestler. A lot of people are saying like, "Oh, it's choreographed, it's scripted." Dude, get in the ring. You get in the ring and do all this stuff that they want to do. Get in the ring and just I don't know. Tell me how choreographed this really is, and at the end of the day, tell me if it's to your liking or not. All right, and just a kind of little preview into the next segment is TNA Impact. TNA Impact, of course, is tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Access TV. You can also get on TNA Plus through a YouTube subscription. So, yeah, that's going to be a preview, so don't go anywhere. When you come back, we are talking Impact and Ring of Honor. All right.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh,
feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. So we just got done talking about AEW's Big Business preview and how Mercedes Moné made her AEW debut, and it was very, 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 very cool. Next, we're going to start talking about TNA Impact and Ring of Honor. But first, and always, we always encourage the audience to kind of make a positive contribution. Kind of, I want to talk to you. I hope you want to talk to me. I want to talk to you, but no, sorry to be, also, remember we get a lot of questions from viewers that come in during the show. So ensure your questions get read on air. I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. That puts your questions on top of the list so I can see it. And also, it helps the show. Peace, love, and positivity, baby. All the way, baby. So, again, the link is the gsmcpodcast.net. So, go ahead and give me a nice little holler there. All right. So, the Impact and Ring of Honor preview. Being brutally honest with my folks, with my wrestling peeps, I have recently got into both of the wrestling organizations, and I got to be honest, I was missing out. Like, this is totally incredible. Like, some of the best superstars are not on. Well, I don't want to trash other organizations, but I'm just gonna say that it was very ignorant of me to think that there was just one wrestling top conglomerate out there. And, I don't know, I just think it's kind of cool. Like, it's nice to have your eyes open up to different, like, ways of thinking, different perspectives from like a subjective or like an objective reality. I don't know. I just think it's kind of cool. So, all right, we're going to start off with some Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor. I watched a lot of the highlights. I watched some of the matches. I kind of looked over the rosters, some of the boiling storylines that are going on. So let's start off with the women's division. Last week, Red Velvet advanced to the semifinals, and she's hanging out there with the Queen Alminenta, and for the women's world TV title. But tonight there's going to be a match featured with try to get the final two down for the quarterfinals here. So you have Billie Starkz against the Diamante and the Abandon against Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Martinez is actually a former women's champion for the Ring of Honor. So I have my money on her, to be honest. If I was at a betting booth in Vegas and they're like, "Who are you picking?" I'll be like, "Dude, Mercedes Martinez, that's my girl." Um, so what I kind of took from this, and I know this kind of like segues away from Ring of Honor, but I think this is kind of very important to talk about, is that I think WWE should start adopting what AEW Ring of Honor is doing and New Japan Wrestling. If you think about it, the roster on the WWE is so big, especially in the women's division now, since it's getting super popular. And you kind of have them all like you have so much talent striving toward one title, the women's championship, the world or the heavyweight women's championship, and you also have the NXT women's championship, and then but you also have the women's tag team championships. But not a lot of superstars really look like you watch them on air and you're like, oh, they would be great tag team participants. A lot of people, a lot of women's wrestlers or like men even that you're like, you see them as a tag team and you're like, they look more like a singles competitor. But I don't know, there's so many superstars. How many superstars can you have to put into it to like a tag team? Like it's all, I don't know. There's just too much. There's too much talent that causes for a lot of early releases. That causes for a lot of probably disgruntled locker rooms about a lot of people wanting a lot of girls or guys in their respective divisions striving toward one goal. kind of going up to WWE officials and being like, "Hey, like I put in my work. Where's my chance?" You know what I mean? But like I said, I think they should adopt it. Like the Ring of Honor has the TV Women's Championship, the AEW has a TBS Women's Championship. I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't know. I think WWE should have a Women's Intercontinental Championship. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think that would be pretty cool. Pretty cool to kind of have that like kind of have that middle barrier, you know what I mean? Because if you have too many people fighting toward one goal, like the women's championship, you're going to have like a lot of talent from Raw or SmackDown going down to the NXT level, kind of like what Becky Lynch did. I know she went down there and she kind of like promoted all this talent, but I felt like WWE story writing was like, all right, since Becky Lynch doesn't make sense in any of these storylines, let's go ahead and put her down there so she can flourish in there and kind of keep her name relevant within the talks of the pro wrestling business. But at the same time, you also have to take in consideration that a lot of those NXT women's wrestlers were suffering as well because Becky came in and all of them were kind of when one comes down, the pile goes down. You know what I mean? Like, so they're like, hey, where's my chance? Like, why can't we make something happen here? So I don't know. I just thought it'd be pretty cool. And I think they should introduce it at the biggest party of the summer in Cleveland, SummerSlam. They should be like Triple H should come out like and be like, we're having a women's intercontinental championship, or it's a working title. You can name it whatever you want, but I just kind of like wanted an equivalent like measure of like the men's intercontinental championship slash United States championship, and I don't know, just kind of bring it to the women's division. I think that'd be pretty dope. In that so expansion. It's time for expansion. We need more titles. We need more time. I know like WWE has a lot of superstars and you sign them. Some, the money is obviously there's a salary cap hit, but what does not get hit is you can just make another title and then so everybody's happy. And it won't cost a dime, like you know what I mean? Like so I don't know. It's just me, I'm a conspiracy wrestling theorist, I guess. Um all right, moving on. So the two-time AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy returned to the Ring of Honor for the first time since 2019, and he teams with Trent Beretta to kind of go after titles. Like you have the AEW tag team titles that are totally vacant right now. They can go ahead and try to grasp. So I don't know. I think in the upcoming weeks you're going to see them kind of like shooting up, propelling towards superstardom as like the status quo of tag team in the tag team division because both of those wrestlers are they're really good. A lot of them could they there's a lot of wrestlers that you can watch and the way they wrestle you're like, oh, that guy could work well with others. But that could just be my wrestling mind and like a lot of people can be like, oh, you know what you're talking about, but I don't know, like you can just kind of see it. Like when Matt or Jeff Hardy kind of continued their singles career, you kind of look at them and be like, uh they look better as a tag team. They look like I love their single success. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not you know, trying to play devil's advocate here, but I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes you can tell as a wrestling fan, from my perspective. So also this show is going to feature a four-corner survival match between AR Fox, Jack Cartwell, uh, Commodore, and Slim J. And also there's going to be a women's four-corner survival match between Kyrie Hogan, Lady Frost, Layla Hirsch, and Robin Renegade. So that should be pretty dope. Should be pretty dope. Also, we have trios action. We have the Action Andretti and the Top Flight versus Iron Savages and Jack Jameson. Jack Jameson. I don't know if you paid it if you watch TNA Impact or watch highlights on their website. I don't know. This is something you kind of get super excited for. Like I know that I know last show I talked about how WWE should adopt like kind of like a trios championship. But I like 3-on-3s. I like 3-on-3s because once when all hell breaks loose, everybody's in the ring at the same time. It's just I don't know. I just think it's super dope. Lee Johnson versus Aaron Solo. We also have the Workhorsemen versus Nick Comoroto and Jacoby Watts. And Ring of Honor Women's Champion Athena will be there. She will be there. She'll probably address the crowd, and it's probably going to be pretty good because she's a magnificent superstar. I loved Ember Moon. Loved Ember Moon. Um, so that should be cool for Ring of Honor. All right. TNA Impact is also I kind of like I said before, AEW, TNA Impact, and Ring of Honor kind of like they have partnerships. So like they kind of not share superstars, but they sometimes they fight on other brands. So sometimes it can get pretty confusing. Like I know that I just said it was like a TNA Impact show, but then I don't know, like quickly fixing my mistake, ladies and gentlemen. Spitfire takes the ring, defeating MK Ultra at Sacrifice to become the Knockouts World Tag Team Women's Champions. Danny, Luca, and Judy Threat they put the women's division on notice, their tag team division, just to kind of see who their next opponents are going to be. I, off the top of my head, probably can't give you two opponents that will be interested in fighting for that, but um, it seems like either it's WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor slash TNA slash New Japan Wrestling. Like the women's tag team division is becoming so prominent and it's becoming such a big deal and it's becoming such a marketable like interest that um you can I think in my opinion you can like main event some of these matches. Some of these matches are I don't know pretty fantastic. Like if you had the Kabuki Warriors versus like Mercedes Monet and Willow of a Nightingale, I think that would be pretty cool. But WWE doesn't want to merge with AEW, so us as wrestling fans have to suffer. But it's always good to have a nice little competition, I guess. It kind of brings the best out of one company and the other company. So maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is a good thing. Uh, we have AJ Francis versus Joe Hendry. So tensions are currently escalating between the two superstars. Uh, Francis has recently cost Hendry the Digital Media Championship at Sacrifice. I think I talked about this on the last podcast or a couple of podcasts ago. That I don't know. Usually when somebody screws the other person over, the other comes at them like kind of like a violent, like I don't know. So I'm expecting this episode to be like with chairs or being mugged in the back or someone having an interview and just like someone throwing like a sledgehammer at him or something like that. Uh, so maybe that could be the future. I don't know, maybe. But there's also going to be a one-on-one match, and that was made by the director of Authority, Santino Marella. And a lot of people remember it as Santino Marella when the Monday Night Raw was in Milan, Italy, and he was chosen to fight Umaga. Right now, rest in peace, Umaga. And then he ended up winning thanks to Bobby Lashley. But I don't know. I kind of miss Santino Marella. Santino Marella was a character. He was pretty funny guy. He had the what is it the Cobra. He would like hit everybody. I thought that was pretty. I don't know. Usually, corny things like that is I don't know. That kind of makes me happy. But sorry. But the thing I kind of want to talk about the most is that the X Division Championship will be defended tonight between Mustafa Ali and Chris Sabin. Kind of going through like a history of Mustafa Ali. He was very prominent. He was very, very good in 205 Live for the WWE. The moment when he came back and he formed his little his I think there was like four guys. There's like four guys. No, there was two guys and one girl and it just didn't work out. And I felt super bad for the guy because he has so much talent. Like every single time you watch 205 Live, you know that every Mustafa Ali match was going to be like one to remember, one kind of keep your eyes like glued onto the screen. So I miss Mustafa Ali in that kind of sense. You know what I mean? I think it was Retribution. Yeah, Retribution. When they came out, they were just beating the heck out of everybody, but it turned out that it wasn't, quite what WWE wanted. So I think they released all the superstars. I don't really see all these superstars around. So also Nick Saban's history. He's the veteran. you kind of have the young gun who's on a tear, who's on a roll against a veteran and Chris Sabin. Chris Sabin has been with TNA for a long, long time. Ever since I think he was tag teamed with Jay Lethal or oh maybe that might have been Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels. I'm not sure, but that was when the ring was like hexagon, where it wasn't like the squared circle, it wasn't like your four post. It was like a hexagon. And I remember the first time I watched TNA and I saw the ring and I was like, oh my god, like that's crazy. That was when they had Sting, Bubba Ray, Aces and Eights. That was when they had Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett, and I think Jim Cornette was there as well. Like it was, it was pretty entertaining. Like I kind of liked how it was different, but I know they conformed to the four post. But I don't know. All in all, what I kind of want to get out of this conversation is that TNA. It seems like it has a lot of its ups and downs, but I hope that it's kind of on its way back up. So. All right. So that was my Impact slash Ring of Honor. The next segment I want to talk about, so don't go anywhere, is that after Monday Night Raw aired in an interview with Booker T on his podcast, he sat down next to Sami Zayn on a plane, and Sami Zayn was deeply and legitimately upset about how the fans reacted to him beating Chad Gable and fighting for the Intercontinental Championship at Mania. So don't go anywhere. That's going to be your next one. All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC podcast network. Um, so what we recently just talked about was we first started with an AEW review. We started with a TNA Impact slash Ring of Honor preview, and now we're going to go ahead and move on to our next segment from Sami Zayn. First and foremost, before anything else gets out of it, just remember to keep asking questions. Remember to, tips and donations are always, a possibility to get your questions on the screen to talk to me. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want me to further elaborate on. Maybe you have like some kind of insight or like maybe some kind of wrestling knowledge that you kind of want to, show off to me. And I would love to see it. I would love to hear it. I would just love to be part of your life. So let's go ahead and do it. Remember, you can hit the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Remember, that's the gsmcpodcast.net. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to our man, Sami Zayn. So I kind of feel bad for Sammy, but then again, like, you kind of are expected to handle this as a wrestler, kind of like as an athlete. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey, it doesn't matter. You have people on Twitter, well, not Twitter, I think it's called X now. You have people on X, you have people just browsing through these social medias, just looking to, you know, just talk trash or I don't know. This is just something that superstars and athletes should just kind of push off to the side and kind of not take into consideration, like what Booker T called it was white noise, is that no matter what, people are gonna hate you. People are gonna hate you, people are gonna like you. It doesn't matter. Like, and then people like trolling on X. Probably some guy that's still living in his mother's basement, disliking the fact that he liked Chad Gable better than Sami Zayn. But Sami Zayn got the opportunity. But I don't know. I just think that Sami shouldn't think too much of it. He's a hell of a wrestler. He's a hell of a competitor. He kind of changes the temperature in the room. You could see that a lot because WWE definitely like they create storylines around Sami Zayn. Like look at the storyline between him and Kevin Owens, or look at the storyline between him and Finn Balor when they were first coming up through NXT, and also him as the honorary Uce in the Bloodline segment. That was very, 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 very entertaining to watch Sami Zayn go out there and night after night prove to Jay and Jimmy Uso that he's the honorary Uce. Ultimately, to kind of stab Roman Reigns' back, from helping out his buddy Kevin Owens. Finally fed up with the rat race and the elephant show that Jimmy and Jay were constantly trying to put him on, and I don't know, that created a lot of storylines there. So I think Sami Zayn is definitely kind of. I know his. I know I read through an article, kind of like they were interviewing him, and I know his icon or his idol, like he said Mick Foley, and I honestly see a lot of Mick Foley in Sami Zayn. I really, really do. The way he approaches matches, the way he is with during interviews, promos, and stuff like that. I see a lot of Mick Foley-esque values within him, and Mick Foley was awesome. Mick Foley was amazing. He was just down for anything, absolutely. Kind of like Darby Allin in the AEW, is he was not afraid to put his body on the line to entertain the crowd night after night, taking shots and blows to the head, probably, assuming numerous amount of concussions, all for you. All chair shots, being thrown off the Hell of a Cell by the Undertaker was for the fans. So, that's something you gotta take into consideration. So last Monday night was the gauntlet match, and Bronson Reed was part of it, Shinsuke Nakamura, and a couple others, JD McDonough. But the main thing was Sami Zayn picked up the victory. He outlasted all of them. He really, really did. And so now he's gonna fight Gunther. I know he had a chance to fight Gunther, and a lot of people, saw that match and thought he was very outmatched. But now you kind of have this David versus Goliath kind of story here, which is, kind of setting for the WrestleMania kind of storyline. Because you kind of want to create it within championship matchups. And I think that's kind of how I saw the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns thing, was like the ultimate underdog Cody. But I don't know. If you think about it, they're kind of the same. The only reason why Cody kept losing was because of the bloodline. But now, since you have this match on night one of WrestleMania, Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes fighting The Rock and Roman Reigns, where you can win and kind of eradicate that pest of the bloodline trying to interfere within your match. Um, so the two final men were Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. And I know Chad Gable, he's totally, totally over right now. Like he is like WWE is pushing him to be kind of like a fan fave. You kind of have him and Otis, Akira Tozawa, and Maxime Dupree as the Alpha Academy. Um, I know right now, Gable has been kind of chasing Gunther for the longest time. He kind of wants to finish his story, so to speak. That's, according to WWE.com. I don't know. I think Hall of Fame Booker T spoke with Sami Zayn after the match. They're on a flight back to Orlando. And Book said to Sami that he should feel good about his win. And to be honest, I honestly really do too. I think Sami Zayn should definitely kind of I don't know. He should keep doing what he's doing. He's obviously doing something right. Um, Obviously you have like Booker T, you know, kind of helping you out, kind of giving you guidance here. And I, I, I don't know. I think sometimes the internet could be harsh. The internet could be harsh, especially social media. Social media is that place, that safe haven, where people could say kind of stuff without without any responsibility or accountability. So I don't know. I just think that I don't know. Sami Zayn, he was legitimately upset, and was it valid? I say yes, but at the same time, I say no. Like I said, wrestlers like that should kind of like learn how to kind of brush that stuff off, especially if you're in the entertainment kind of business. You should kind of get used to knowing that you're gonna have haters. You're gonna have haters. You're gonna have fans. You're gonna have people who are jealous or that are very envious of your situation. But I don't know. I just thought it was probably. So all this online heat, and Sami Zayn said he was so beloved in the past, and he was very somber about it. And he said, and I quote, "I thought the fans loved." Sami Zayn, for the longest time, he was doing that that skit with the Bloodline, where a lot of people hated him. And before that, he was actually playing a pretty good a heel, where he changed his music up. You didn't get to sing along with his theme song like you usually did, but I don't know. And Sami Zayn, Chad Gable is so easy to fall in love with. It's kind of like one of those things where like you kind of have to kind of respect the other person, like their push, their face turn, or trying to get them promoted, so to speak. But what I really, 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 really don't want the WWE to do is to use this as an excuse for Sami Zayn to go heel or Chad Gable to go heel. You know what I mean? Like Sami Zayn be like, "I thought you liked me," screw all you, or like Chad Gable, like kind of saying the same thing, like I'm better than everybody else. But I don't know. I just think all in all, kind of be bad for the company. So wrestling writing, don't do it. Whatever you do, don't do it. So what if Sami Zayn wins? So if Sami Zayn wins the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, I think he kind of brings a lot more competition to the table. And when I say that, I believe I'm like a stern believer that Gunther doesn't belong in the Intercontinental Championship match. Or he doesn't deserve. Well, he's a fighting champion and he deserved the belt, and he's been wearing it longer than a Honky Tonk Man, and he's like obviously the best Intercontinental champion who's ever lived. But I'm talking like, I don't know, kind of like class and weight, like wise. Like Gunther should be in the heavyweight division. He should be fighting either like Roman Reigns, or he should be fighting Seth Rollins. Um, I think that um, I think he would make a really good Intercontinental champion. He'd be one of those like fighting champions who would fight for his title every week, kind of like how Seth was when he was the Intercontinental champion. But I don't know. I just think that I don't want to say this needs to happen, because if it happens and it all goes to hell, I don't want y'all blaming me. But no, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. I just think it would be interesting to see how Sammy holds the belt, because if you think about it, I think he was once the United States champion, but mostly in the main roster of Raw and SmackDown, Sammy hasn't really held a title much. He hasn't really shown how he could hold down the fort, so to speak, in terms of the wrestling locker room, in terms of like promotions, sales, marketing, as like a champion. And maybe that could be a reason why the WWE has never put the strap on him, because he's not marketable. But I don't know. Like I don't know. I think that he's very likable, and I think he could definitely carry a title. So it'd be interesting to see. And plus, Gunther's got to go to the heavyweight division. I'm sorry. And all right. And kind of finally about this situation is Gunther. What if Gunther wins? If Gunther wins, to be honest, he's great. But like I said, he should be a heavyweight. I don't like that he's I don't know. I don't like how he's down in the Intercontinental kind of ranks. And I'm not trying to diminish the Intercontinental Championship in any way, but it's kind of like Brock Lesnar esque and like a Rhea Ripley, that sometimes if you're too good in that division and you're holding that belt, and where it kind of seems hopeless for anyone to beat you. But then when, you know, you are put in a situation in like a pay per view where you're fighting someone who isn't in your league, and all the fans kind of know that, like they kind of know that, all right, like I know this is choreographed and scripted to like a certain extent, but this is a little much. Like we all know who's gonna win. We don't want to watch that. But then if the person that they think is going to win doesn't win, then at the same time they're like, "Oh, that's so choreographed." Like, I don't know. It's hard to please WWE fans. It really is. We're one of a kind breed here. Um, but I don't know why couldn't Gunther, just think about it. Who is fighting in WrestleMania for the World's Heavyweight Championship? Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. We've seen that all before. I think this is the third time they are fighting. Why do they have to fight three times? Why don't why didn't they put Gunther in that situation where he could dethrone Seth or he can win the championship and start this whole new role as the world's heavyweight, Gunther a ring general like person? Like I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like there should be kind of a discrepancy between competitors between like the world's heavyweight champion slash WWE champion and kind of like the intercontinental slash United States champion kind of role. Like for example, like let's compartmentalize here for a second. When I think about the WWE championship slash world heavyweight championship, I think of like people like Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, Gunther, Damian Priest, surprisingly, Braun Breaker, Bobby Lashley. I also think of Randy Orton, and I like the LA Knight there as well. Cody Rhodes, and I think Karrion Kross kind of fits in that as well. For like Intercontinental slash United States, I kind of see like a Jey Uso. I'm sorry, Jey Uso is not in that heavyweight category. Like he's too small. Don't get me wrong. People like to kind of have size and strength versus speed and agility. And don't get me wrong, it's entertaining as hell to see, but 9 times out of 10, power and size always wins. And that's just kind of like a WWE kind of thing here. But I don't see Jey Uso really like holding the strap of the World Heavyweight Championship, especially with those behemoths out there like Brock Lesnar, Gunther, Roman Reigns, and like I don't know, also, Logan Paul, I feel like he's on the right track. I think Finn Balor's kind of more in that Intercontinental Championship category as well. United States, although he's the first ever Universal Champion. Um, Sami Zayn belongs in the Intercontinental Championship category. That's the reason why I'm kind of like, very, pushing for him to win this championship title right here. Austin Theory, also Grayson Waller. And the reason why people like that have not gotten opportunities at the Intercontinental Championship is because WWE management knows that you can't market a match like that. You can't market Grayson Waller, this hot thing coming out of NXT against Gunther. It's too predictable. Fans won't eat into it. But imagine if Sami Zayn had it and Grayson Waller was going to fight Sami Zayn. You'd be like, Grayson Waller has a chance. This is going to be a match worth watching. So these are all kind of things that, I don't know, that I kind of wish that WWE management would kind of take into consideration here. But like I said, I'm more of a, I am more of like a conspiracy theorist, but in that. So we talked about my man Sami Zayn being upset after Raw. Next, I want to talk about, and make sure you stick around, is that The Rock is Hollywood bound once again. He's set to film a movie in May to August. So it seems kind of interesting to see how wrestling kind of centers this bloodline storyline and see how it hopefully they do it to the point where it makes sense and they don't try to force it, because when they try to force it, it kind of pisses me off, because I don't know, you can see it as a wrestling fan. Like I said, we're a special breed and we're very particular, but I'm dang proud of that fact. All right, join me in a second. right, welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. We recently talked about how Sami Zayn felt a little hurt after the Gauntlet match on Monday Night Raw, and the future of that is the Intercontinental Championship. So next is we're going to talk about the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, The Rock. So The Rock has recently, within the last month, became very prominent in the WWE Universal slash basically the undisputed championship that Roman Reigns has been holding for so long. Um, at first, he was set to fight Roman, but due to the likeness overall of Cody Rhodes, that plan wasn't able to come to light. So now you have Cody finishing his story against Roman Reigns. And then you have The Rock in this predicament where now, since WWE kind of put The Rock in the storyline, they kind of have to make something of it now. They kind of have to do something. They can't just let The Rock go away and just be like, I just came here to support my cousin. No, oh my God, if they do that, I'd be so pissed. As a wrestling fan, I would just be like, I would be very furious. But I don't know. It is WWE. Sometimes they shock me in that way. So The Rock has an upcoming movie, and I don't know if it's going to affect his overall status as a storyline plot in the bloodline of the WWE, but he shoots late May, early June to August. The upcoming film project is called this. It's the Smashing Machine. Film based on the acclaimed 2002 documentary, The Smashing Machine, The Life and Times of Mark Kerr. Mark Kerr is a former MMA fighter, which The Rock is playing. And I kind of saw pictures, and if The Rock was a little younger, a little more hair, I think he would kind of fit that role, more than he, already does. That's the reason why they casted him. So Emily Blunt is co-starring with him, with Dwayne The Rock. She also co-starred with The Rock in the Disney's Jungle Cruise, so they kind of have a nice little, reunion there. She's playing Kerr's wife. Um, so I don't know. I just think that where does this leave the whole head of the table storyline? Like before the whole Cody Rhodes thing happened, where he confronted The Rock and said, like, "Hey, like I want to finish my story. I'm fighting Roman. I'm sorry." That promo that he did where he came out and he said, "What if I take my place at the head of the table?" It means nothing. Like it means absolutely like nada. Like there was no point to it. Why even have it? Why get the fans all stirred up? The next available pay-per-view besides WrestleMania is Backlash. And after that it's in May, where in May to August, The Rock's going to be booked. The Rock might be able to make it for the biggest party of the summer or the Bash at the Berlin to kind of do something. But I feel like he's kind of made himself like so noticeable in the WWE universe that if you're gonna wait that long to have The Rock finally do something about the whole Roman Reigns and the head of the table situation, I think it's like too little too late kind of thing. Like it's one of those things where like the fans are very eager and they want it and they want it now. Um, so I don't know. I just think don't force it. Writers from WWE, don't force it, please. Don't just force something down our throats and be like The Rock just randomly attacks like Roman at a non pay per view or like in a non. They have to honestly. WrestleMania needs to be spectacular for The Rock, for the fans not to get angry or feel any sense of like what the hell? Like, are you serious right now? Because I don't know. I just, as a wrestling fan, that would devastate me. That would suck. Like, I don't know. We've been kind of waiting for the storyline of The Rock taking his place at the head of the table for a long time. Ever since Roman, made a year as the champion. A lot of people are like, oh, when is The Rock gonna come in and like, lay the smackdown on this guy and, control his clowns and stuff like that. But, we waited this long. WWE needs to, they need to pay their dues. They need to, They need to do right by us. Do right by the WWE universe. We're hurting here. We want this to happen. Um, so like I said, WWE Backlash is on May 4th. He could fight Roman in France, which, that's where WrestleMania Backlash is taking place. But I don't know. Like, you also have to think about if Cody Rhodes wins in WrestleMania, the next pay-per-view is WWE Backlash. Roman Reigns has a rematch clause. Like, he can use that to rematch Cody Rhodes. But if Roman uses it to rematch on like Raw, I think that would be kind of, that would be nonsense. That'd be so silly. But and also, um, I don't. They just need to make this. They just need to make this make sense. Like, like if Cody wins and like he adds a stipulation, like he's like, if I beat you, Roman, since I put it all on the line on night one, teaming with Seth for a chance to be bloodline free. If I win, you will never compete for this title as long as I hold it. That would kind of set up like okay, so since I lost against Cody now, The Rock wants a piece of me, so now we're gonna fight The Rock. But that's kind of like one of the only things that makes sense. Like, I don't know, that's a huge step though for WWE writing. But hey, like I said, WWE writing has been very unpredictable. So who knows? And also, I don't know. What if The Rock finishes night one either winning or losing? And what if night two goes on with Roman Reigns losing the championship? Where does that leave the bloodline storyline? Like, imagine if Roman Reigns was titleless, if The Rock wasn't there, and like Jimmy and Solo Sikoa are kind of left like backing up this guy who kind of has no further I don't know, place in the WWE universe because, well, I don't know. It is Roman Reigns. It is Roman Reigns. So I don't know. I would just think if The Rock kind of left, if he just came in and left without making any kind of like statement, I don't know. That would just kind of really bum me out, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just my wrestling depression kicking in. But if this happens, I am probably gonna just eat a Haagen-Dazs ice cream every day for like maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and just kind of curl up in a ball and like watch old WCW matches. But I don't know. That's just me. But I don't know. I just think that they kind of need to make this happen. You know, they need to make the Roman Reigns and The Rock storyline make sense, come to life, and entertain the hell out of us, especially with The Rock's new movie coming up. So, all right, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully, you enjoyed this fantastic episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. I hope I did it right so I don't get assassinated. So thank you for tuning in to the Wrestling Laureate Podcast presented to you by the GSMC Podcast Sports Network. Shoot. Uh, your support means a lot to us. So please remember to subscribe to the show, leaving a positive review, and do your best Roman Reigns Superman Punch, and like, subscribe. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and for more content and updates. So thank you once again, and I hope you all have a phenomenal day. But before I leave, I want to just tell the podcasting world and my wrestling peeps that I think it's time to acknowledge me. I'm just kidding. No, that was pretty lame. Just kidding. Acknowledge me.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to